Hey guys, so I'm introducing Dawn Green, founder of Thundertix today. Her website is on the board, obviously. Thundertix is an event ticketing and venue management web app. It's a very successful business here in Austin, and her story about how she came to founding Thundertix is very interesting. And we're really excited to have her here because, like many of you, she wasn't always a developer, and she changed careers to learn development, and she's here to tell her story. So round of applause for Dawn for joining us here.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Good to be here.
We talked on the phone a little bit earlier, and you had a really interesting kind of background before Thundertix was even on the map. Could you go a little bit into where you were before you started learning code and kind of tell that story?
First of all, I have 3 kids, 3 daughters. At the time when I was going to college, as I was a late student, non-traditional, I was going to college while they were young. And when I graduated, and I'm not going to say the age I graduated because I'll totally give my age away. But when I graduated, I decided to start my own business. The reason why I did is because I wanted to be able to have the flexibility to spend time with the girls. At the time, I think they were 4, 6, and 8. I ended up starting a company called Thunder Data Systems. We did custom software, and all I had was a computer science degree. I had almost zero experience, very similar to what you guys are getting. Whatever degrees you came here or non-degrees that you came here with, my background was probably very similar. I had spent a few months as a paid intern for the college I went to, and that was it. But I started because I knew I wanted to do something, and I knew in my gut I could be successful at whatever it was that I started. And so I think that's something that everybody should go forth with, is that if you're passionate about something, know you can do it. In 2000 is when I started. By the time 2008 rolled around, I had about 400 clients. Doing custom software mostly for very small businesses, places like MakerStory, fairly small staffs, sometimes as simple as a website. And at the time, even web shopping carts were fairly new. Wiki systems were unheard of when I started, and CSS was a far cry from what you guys are used to today. But in 2005, Thundertix actually got started because I had a venue down in Corpus Christi. It was an outdoor concert venue, and they were locked in a Ticketmaster contract with one loophole that said, you can sell tickets on your own system, but you have to match the fee. Well, that was cool because they got to keep the fee. So they asked us to build it, and we did, and then we always made a habit of writing on our website about what we did to establish credibility, and we started getting phone calls. Well, little by little, we started building, and in 2008, we rewrote what was then a PHP app in Ruby on Rails, which was still pretty much in its infancy. It was really just starting to get adoption. So 5 years later, I just saw the stats over the weekend. What we were excited when 16% of our revenue came from Thundertix. Well, I've scaled back on the custom software, and now we have 91% of our revenue is from Thundertix. And so that's just a little bit of my background. And
what did the first version of Thundertix look like?
I think you might even be able to find it on Wayback Machine. It was ugly. The code was bad. In fact, we had this horrible graphic at the time of a little ticket man that was standing before 3 big tickets and said, the big ticketing companies are scared of us because we have no fees. Well, that was either arrogant or presumptuous or both. Nobody was scared of us, and they still aren't.
What did your team look like early on?
Initially, we have maintained about the same size, which is one of the benefits of a software as a service. Our revenues are 3 or 4 times what they were back when we were starting, when we were doing custom software. But I had a 7-person team then. Today we have 5, and we're making 4 times the revenue. That's where software as a service is such a great business model. If you can find something that where you can capitalize on that.
And what are some of the things that you look at in people to bring them into such a small team? Like, what was it like?
You mean what, how did we hire?
Yeah.
I hired new people, probably people like you guys, but I can't pay as much as what's the company over there, Mass Relevance. So go get with Mass Relevance if you want.
How do you describe how the community involvement has helped your experience?
All right, and I'll tell you, I was in Perl and CGI before this. I was in PHP community for a while. There is no community, I think, like the Rails community, or maybe it's just I matured over time. I think it is particularly embracing of women, which I think is huge for, and as I see in this room, I think those are huge pluses.
How many women are in your team?
4. Yeah, so.
What are some other examples of really bad code that has gotten you far?
Oh my, unfortunately, all right, so I will admit, I'm gonna say this publicly for the first time. I do not have any tests that I run, period. All right, none. As a new company, I just don't believe in writing tests. I think if you've got an idea, you just write it. Because if you spend 40 hours writing the project or the feature and 30 hours writing the code, you're throwing out 70 hours when you realize nobody cared about it. So I mean it, I cannot tell you the last time I ran a test.
And now how do you go about deciding what features to build? What has changed?
All right, a couple of things. There are things that customers ask us, and once you open the door for customers to tell you what they want, they will tell you. But what we do is we track them in a spreadsheet, and that has become our scientific method. It used to be that in our group, whatever was the biggest, the squeakiest wheel at that time was the most important feature we needed to build. Well, I realized that sometimes we were building stuff that one person cared about. So now we start tracking it. Now I say, I will not even build it or consider it unless it's in that spreadsheet. Another thing is building things that people don't know they need. A lot of them don't know about social media. They don't know about social sharing. They don't know a lot of things. So I think one is recognizing, understanding the business, and listening to your customers, and then understanding the business enough to help them guide the development.
How does Thundertix work? I mean, is it all electronic? Do people print out the tickets? And
So we're the only no-fee ticketing software anywhere. If a venue chooses not to have any fees because they're a small community theater and they don't want to charge a $3 fee on a $10 ticket, they don't have to. On the other hand, if they want to help defray the cost of the ticketing service, which is our prices are printed, they can charge $1 per ticket or 50 cents.
One over there.
So you kind of built your business around your lifestyle. Does that mean that a lot of you focus on local businesses in the Austin area, or you find that you're able to reach out past that?
We have clients all over the United States and Canada. We're actually expecting to branch out to Central and South America soon. So yeah, but they are around. Which, by the way, I should note this, a lifestyle business sounds great. It is nice now, but there were many years when the 2008 downturn happened and the code had finished being built. We were down to a 2-person team trying to flesh out this project and see if we actually had a viable business. But I was working 80 to 100 hours a week every week. My kids were at an age that they were teenagers and young adults, and so it was easier for me, but it was exhausting. Now I can do the 4-week vacation.
I got a question. You said that you were expanding into South America.
Yes.
What have you seen in terms of the web app landscape down there? Is it still green fields, or is it?
I don't know. It's one of the things that we're actually going to explore a little bit when we're down there. But our goal is, what we do is we use SEO in virtually every page we write. We have a full-time writer. Actually, he wears many hats. That's our sole man on the team. But he is the one that helps us explore new,
Markets.
new areas for business. For example, restaurants. We've actually signed a number of restaurants around the United States who are frustrated with no-shows at high-cost restaurants, which is just a huge lost opportunity for those small restaurants. So we have found, he has been instrumental in helping guide us through that. And so that is the reason why we're in that space. And it's also the reason why we're exploring it, South America, because he believes that there's a market and he's got some data to back it up.
What made you choose to rewrite your application?
I actually had hired a couple of guys at the time. One was just catching the excitement around Ruby on Rails, and he really wanted to try it. I had recently tried it at a South by South conference when it was more tech. And then we had another guy that had some Ruby background, and it was that decision that said, let's try taking advantage of it because we knew there's been strong benefits.
What has changed since you ported that application to Ruby? What do you think is the main advantage of having it in this language?
MVC frameworks are just significant. I would never go back to PHP. I mean, I think it's great to learn, just like I think Drupal is worth, experimenting with, and I don't think that you'll always gain by knowing more, being exposed to more languages, but I think an MVC framework is just wonderful.
I'm inferring that you bootstrapped your business.
Yes.
Mostly?
Yes.
So did you ever have the opportunity to raise money, and why didn't you?
I have the opportunity to raise money, and I've actually people have spoken to me in the past, but I really don't want to be beholden to somebody. I'm too egotistical, I just don't want to work for somebody, and that really is the bottom line. And I will have to answer to somebody. I'll have to be beholden to them. This is my advice to all of you as people starting. If you have an idea, you've already got your laptop. And there's so much free knowledge. It doesn't even cost money to start a company. Heroku's free. And even if you want to scale up, it's what, $40 or, to have a dino so it never dies. Domain names are a song. I had no problem bootstrapping. I have never taken a dime of funding. I've never put a penny on my credit card. It's too cheap to get started. There's no reason why everybody in here cannot have some app and get one customer. Just, if you're passionate about something, get one customer and then see if you can find one more. And I believe you can start a business and be successful with no funding. But if you feel like you have a brand new business idea and you actually do have customers, go after funding. So good luck to everybody.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you.